Miss Stella's Meza. On today's episode, we're going to take a little detour. I will be making some fudge today. Now I know that fudge is not typically an African or Kenyan dessert for that matter, but I decided to switch it up a little bit and make it my own. So today I'll be making fudge that's colored in the colors of the Kenyan flag, which is right here. So we will have green, white, red and black to represent my home country. For those of you who do not know already, I am originally from Kenya. So I thought I'd throw a little bit of Kenyan pride in there and make something that I'm used to, but switch it up to make it my own. And I will show you in a minute the list of things you will need, so hang on tight. And today we're going to be doing something slightly different. Instead of watching me most of the time, we're going to be looking down at what I'm working on. And this is because my trusty cameraman is not feeling very well today, so I'll be doing this solo. But I hope you get to enjoy it and learn something new today, so stick around. Right, like I promised, I am back with ingredients. Now for this recipe you will need white chocolate, being that we'll be adding coloring into the chocolate, so you want something you'll see, so therefore you want to use white chocolate. And I went ahead and bought some baker's chocolate that is white. Now the recipe calls for 6 ounces per color, but the way I'm going to divide it out is the white part of the flag, since the lines are thin, I'm going to use less white chocolate. So I only got around 4 boxes of these, and that should do. Okay, now in each of these boxes comes these squares. Before it used to be a single square that's covered in some kind of aluminum foil, but these days this is how they sell them. So what I went ahead and did is put 11 of these. I have 3 bowls. I put 11 of these in each bowl, 11 of these little squares in 2 of the bowls, and then I put 10 of these little squares in 1 of the bowls. I just went ahead and broke them up into these little size pieces, okay? And I'll move the bowls in front of you so you can see what I'm talking. This is what I did. I just broke them apart like that and put them in each bowl. As you can see, this is the smallest. This will have the white color, and that has 10 of these double pieces, and then the one that'll have the red color and the green color has these, and then red and green color have 11 of these, red, green and black color, 11 of these. Okay, so the thinnest will be the white, and that'll have less. And then over here I have, you want sweetened condensed milk and not evaporated milk. I remember when I came to this country I used to confuse the two, but you need sweetened condensed milk, and you will need a measuring cup, which is a half a cup for measuring the condensed milk. So each color will need half a cup of this sweetened condensed milk. And then you will also need food coloring. Now I got these from Walmart. They're Wilton brand, and I got red, I got green, I got black. And the white color, I will not add any color to it. The white chocolate, I'll just leave it as it is, as white. And what I'm using to scoop out the gel food coloring, these are gel food coloring. I prefer this because it does not change the consistency of whatever it is you're making. But if you like to use liquid coloring for this, go ahead and do that. But I prefer gel, and this is what it looks like on the inside. Let me see if this one's open. This is what it looks like in the inside, and it takes just a little bit. Just a little bit goes a long way, okay? So to scoop that out, I'll be using, I have here 3 chopsticks, because I'm just going to discard these later. Now be very careful because these gel colors stain. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to throw them away once I'm done. Okay? And to give it a little bit of flavor, I'll be using some vanilla extract. I'll be using pure vanilla extract. Now you can use vanilla extract that's not like the imitation vanilla, that's a clear one. If you do not like to alter the color of your fudge, because remember the chocolate is white. But I thought about it, I'm like, being that I'm adding color in there, I don't think a little bit of this pure vanilla extract will make a big difference, because it's a little bit on the dark side, like a dark brown color. And then you will also need a loaf pan, which I have here, and I'll turn it upside down. The reason being is you will need to coat the inside of the loaf pan with some aluminum foil, which I already have pre-cut here. But what I'll do to make sure that I get the inside of this loaf pan exactly like the aluminum foil, lining it exactly like I want it, is I will go ahead and put this over top. I'm going to turn it to its side. This is what it looks like. And I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to mold the aluminum foil on the outside So you just mold the foil around the loaf pan. Make sure the edges are tucked in nice and neat. That way your fudge does not get into the creases, giving it a funny shape. So after that, you gently pull the foil off the back of the loaf pan and gently push it in like this. And then kind of just roll the excess aluminum foil around the edges of the loaf pan. And this is going to make for easy cleanup and also help you release the fudge easily, because you're going to unfold it and lift the fudge off using the foil. So that will work perfect. Okay, try and get the edges nice in there, and it should look like this. Okay, so remember I mentioned for each color you're going to use right around 6 ounces. I'm going to move that to the side. 6 ounces of chocolate, white chocolate, and I went ahead and nuked mine in the microwave for around 40 seconds, sorry, don't do it 40 minutes, it's gonna burn. So 40 seconds, you take it out after 30 seconds and give it a nice stir with a spoon, and then put it back for an extra 15 minutes to 10 to 15 minutes. So it should have this consistency, you see that? Alright, so what I'm gonna do to give it some flavor is I'll add a couple drops of vanilla extract, and I have that here, see that? So I'm just going to use the cap of the bottle of vanilla, and I'm going to put about half a teaspoon in there. And then I'm going to give it a good stir. And this just adds flavor to the fudge. That way it's not just plain chocolate flavor or the flavor of white chocolate. So if it starts to feel like it's seizing, don't worry, just keep stirring. And then I'm going to take half a cup of sweetened condensed milk, not evaporated milk. I'm going to measure it out with my measuring cup here, and that's just right. And I'm going to pour it in to the chocolate there, okay, and then I'm going to give it another stir. Now remember I showed you a picture of the Kenyan flag. The top color is green, so this is going to be the first color I put at the bottom of the loaf pan, and I want that to be the bottom layer, because when we remove or release the fudge, that'll be the top layer. We're gonna invert it. It's gonna be the top layer, so that's why I want the bottom layer to be the one with the green color. I'm just giving it a good stir. So it looks nice and creamy. See that? Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take some of that green gel food coloring, and I'm going to take the tip of this chopstick, and I'm going to just put it in there. Now I'm going to adjust the color according to what it looks like once I've added the color into the chocolate. If I want it, if it's not as dark as I want it, I'm going to keep adding it until I get the right color, the exact color I've been looking for. So I'm just going to give it a stir. See that? It's still not quite as green as the green that's on the Kenyan flag, so I'm going to add a little bit more of that green gel food coloring. And remember that you can use this recipe, just use the colors, whatever colors you prefer. If you want to use, if you want to do colors of the rainbow, whatever colors you prefer. Or if it's a U.S. flag you're going for, go ahead and use the colors, red, white, and blue. Whatever works for you is okay in this recipe. Good, now we're getting to that green I was looking for. Actually, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see what it's looking like. Now that's not quite the green I'm looking for. I'm going to add a little bit more. I want it to be just right. A little bit more. Remember, a little goes a long way with this gel food coloring. It's really strong. So I'm going to add that for now. Give it a stir. We're getting there, people. And then what happens once I've gotten the right color I'm looking for, I'll go ahead and use a spatula, a rubber spatula, to just pour this into the bottom of that loaf pan. And then use a spatula to smooth it out. And then I'm going to wrap it on my counter here a little bit. And what that does, it releases any air bubbles that may be created while you're mixing. Okay? So I'll add just a little bit more in here. I know it looks like quite a bit, but I want, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the right way. I want the exact color I'm looking for. Oh, that's more like it. There you go. Make sure you stir it good and there's no streaks of gel food coloring sitting at the bottom or any on the sides of the bowl. So scrape the bowls occasionally as you stir to make sure the color gets properly incorporated into the chocolate. Like I've just seen a few spots in there that needs a good stir, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now that's the color I'm looking for. I'm going to put it now into the waiting lined loaf pan. Okay, I'm going to bring my loaf pan here. See that? There you go. Okay, so I'm just going to pour it gently in there. It doesn't matter how you do it so long as it's one even layer. And you're going to use your spatula to smooth it out anyway, so you shouldn't stress too much about how it pours into the loaf pan. So long as it's all nice and smooth and a nice even layer. I'm going to move the spoon out the way so I don't make a mess. Keep pouring in there. Now be very careful, this stains, okay? Alright, so as you can see, I'm just using that spatula to gently coax the chocolate into all the corners of the loaf pan and kind of to smooth it out to make it a nice even layer. Okay? And there you have it. So what I do is I shake it and wrap it on the counter. As you can see, there's little lumps in there. Those are air bubbles. Doing this releases them. That way when you cut through it, when all the layers have been put together and you cut through it, you're not going to see little holes in there, which would be air bubbles that did not get released. I know it's loud, but it's something that's necessary. You have to do it. Or if you like, use your chopsticks or whatever you're using, a toothpick or something, and pop those bubbles, because I've tried wrapping it on the counter and they don't seem to be going away. So I'm just going to do this and then I'll give it a nice little shake to see if it smooths out some more. And if it does not, well, it's homemade, so it's supposed to look a little bit rustic, so that's quite okay. Alright, now there you have it. I'm going to do the other layers of chocolate after I put this in the freezer, not the refrigerator. You want to put it in the freezer so it can set for a good 15 to 20 minutes. It should be set, it'll be set when you put your finger over it and it leaves just a little impression of your finger, like it does not go through. Then and only then should you proceed to do the next layer or next color that you're looking to work with. So I'm just going to keep doing that. After that, I'm going to put the white layer, thin white layer over this, and then I'm going to let it set for another 15 minutes, and I'm going to put red layer on top of that, let it set for 15 minutes. I'm going to do the black layer, let it set for 15 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to cover it nicely with cling foil or plastic wrap, and I'm going to leave it in the freezer, not the refrigerator, in the freezer for 12 hours, okay? And then after that, I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. We're going to unmold it and then we're going to slice it up into pieces. That way you can see the colors come through in the slices. And remember to repeat the same procedure with the chocolate pieces. Just melt it for 40 to 45 seconds in the microwave. Put some sweetened condensed milk in there, half a cup of sweetened condensed milk. Put some gel food coloring and some essence. You can put vanilla essence, you can put almond, whatever kind of extract you like, whatever taste you want the fudge to have. Put that in there, a few drops in there, or half a teaspoon, and then follow the same procedure I've just done over here. Okay, so we'll be back with you after 12 hours once everything is nice and set, and I'm gonna slice it up for you to see how pretty that is. So we'll be back. It looks kind of soft. I'm going to put it in the fridge for a couple more minutes, and then we'll be back and I'll unmold it again. There it is. I'll put it back in there. I'll leave it in the fridge for say 25 minutes and we'll come back and unmold it, okay? And then we'll see what it looks like. Be right back. Alright, now I went ahead and lifted the fudge using the foil right out of the loaf pan. You see how easy that is. I just lifted it straight out of it. And I'm going to try and unmold it. I'm gently prying away the foil from the sides of the fudge. Now if you like to make it a little easier, you can dip the whole loaf pan while the aluminum is still in there, the fudge, just put it in a little bit of, in a deeper dish that has a little bit of warm water, but do not keep it in there too long because the bottom layer of your fudge will melt and you do not want that to happen. But in case it does happen, just pop the whole loaf pan with the fudge in it back into the freezer for like 15-20 minutes and it'll set back up again. That's what happened the first time I tried to unmold it. It had been in the fridge for overnight and I'm looking and it still looks soft. The bottom layer is still soft. Okay, I'm going to pop this back into the freezer. I'm just going to put this back into the loaf pan and put it back in the freezer. Now you see my videos are real. I'm not going to edit this out. I want you to see what can happen, you know, the different scenarios. So I'm going to pop this back into the loaf pan and I'm going to put it back in the fridge. I'm going to leave it there for half an hour so it sets nice and solid before I unmold it. So this is me getting the loaf pan. I'm going to put it back in there. Just pop it back into the loaf pan. See what I'm doing? Lifting it gently and popping it back in there. And I'm going to fold this over so that when it's time to unmold it, it comes off easy again. Let's give that another try. 30 minutes. I'll be back with you in 30 minutes. Let's see what happens, okay? It'll be set by then, I'm sure. See you in a little bit. Welcome back. Now, right before the break, you saw me peel the aluminum foil off the fudge, and you noticed that the bottom layer, the very bottom layer, the green part, was kind of sticking to the foil, so I put it back in the freezer. Now I have a few lessons that I learned while making this fudge. Number one, when you want it to set, do not put it in the refrigerator. Let it set the whole time in the freezer. Either put it for 12 hours or overnight. And then number two, for one of the layers, which is a green layer that was kind of sticky, I used, because I realized I'd run out of white chocolate, the baker's chocolate, I went ahead and used the melting chocolate ones you coat with, like if you're making cake pops, the candy melts. I use white candy melts. Do not do that. What I ended up doing was making a second batch of fudge, and this time I use all the layers. With all the layers, I use just white baker's chocolate. Do not use candy melts because the texture will not be the same. It'll be kind of sticky. So please do not do that. So those are the lessons I learned. I made those mistakes. I wanted to let you know so you do not make the same mistakes. And you'll notice a lot of the things that I left in there that I did not edit out is because I wanted you to see what happens in different case scenarios. I didn't want to edit out and make it look like everything's all fine. This is a home cooking show, so things will go wrong at times. I wanted you to see what could go wrong and let you know what you need to do different than what I did. Okay, so I went ahead and cut them up, and I'm going to lift them up so you can take a look. And another thing that I learned by doing this is when you're cutting it, between every cut, use a washcloth, a clean kitchen towel that's been put in hot water and squeezed out to wipe your knife in between every cut. That way the particles from each time you cut the fudge does not stick on the knife and kind of make your layers look this way. So that's what that is. You see the red pieces on the green part? Just do that. Use a clean kitchen towel, put some more hot water on it, and every time you cut, you wipe your knife on it. That way your knife is clean and it won't leave that residue, okay? So go ahead and taste it, okay? Now this one allows cutting, the green part fell off, but this one it should look like, you see, it's not sticky. See, nothing stays on my finger, but you can still see that this distinct layers of colors. And I'm going to take a bite. That's very creamy. That sweetened condensed milk makes it very creamy, and it's delicious. It's not too sweet now. Remember, we didn't add any sugar. We just used the sweetened condensed milk, and the white chocolate is not cloyingly sweet. So that's a perfect consistency. See that? Perfect consistency, perfect sweetness, perfect texture. And look, Memorial Day is coming up. You can play around with the colors of the American flag. You can make red, white, and blue fudge. How about that? So just ideas. What country do you represent? What's your country? Go ahead and put that in there. Whatever colors mean something to you, throw it in the fudge. And I'm going to include the whole recipe, including the measurements and everything I use to make this in my blog. It's www.stellasmeza.blogspot.com. So thank you for joining me this time. I hope you join me again next time as I take your taste buds on another culinary safari. Karibu, and thanks for watching.
Yeah, 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 yeah.